Let me guess, you got a second one or maybe even a third one on the way? And you just got that big raise last year and you're in the mood to lifestyle inflate yourself? Well, I got just the thing for you. To the right side of me is a 2025 Lexus TX 350 luxury all-wheel drive. Let's get into it. Luxury SUVs went from being almost unheard of to pretty much becoming the current market, and this car right here is a product of that. The Lexus TX came from like any Lexus, a Toyota, and the Toyota Highlander. And the Toyota Highlander one day decided that it wasn't big enough to fit 7 people and all their stuff, so it decided to grow and mature into the Grand Highlander. And well, Lexus wanted their own version of it, so they gave us the Lexus TX 350, and it's funny to see the name, especially if you live in Texas and not read it that way. But hey, funny coincidence, but just like everything being bigger in Texas, this thing is the biggest car Lexus makes. In my opinion, TX 350 and the TX in general is a very attractive SUV, starting with these headlights. They are bi-LED headlights and they are self-adjustable, gorgeous at night. The DRLs look great, and the turn signals that are embedded inside. We got this new design language of Lexus with the grills kind of being part of the body. They went from having these ginormous Predator grills that stood out in your face to this subtle design that still exudes luxury. I really love where they're going with this one. Here's your radar for the Lexus Safety System 3. Small, but nonetheless the beautiful chrome L for Lexus. I don't know about you, but I really like the side profile of this thing. It's just super distinct and muscular, and it really screams luxury. On the TX 350 you get 20 standard. This one's been upgraded for a chunk of change, $2,000 to these 22s, and well, I feel like it's money well spent, because next to this dark blue Nightfall mica, looks phenomenal. And here's the rear end of the Lexus TX. You can see that the luxury but subtle theme continues to the back, and it's pretty well designed. I really like this nice light bar that spans the entire rear end of the Lexus TX. You can see the Lexus letters that are embossed right in the center of the lift gate. And this car comes with a hitch because it can tow up to 5,000 pounds when properly equipped. Let's go ahead and take a look at the storage we get in the back of a Lexus TX. And for a 7-seater car with the third row up, this is super impressive. If you're in the market and for something in this segment, you know that space gets limited and TX has it all. The reason you would get something like the TX over the bigger off-roady brothers like the GX550 is pretty much this. Since this is built on a front-wheel biased car chassis, it gives you all the room. You don't have all the differentials and axles and all the nonsense running down here, so you can actually get a lot more space and a much more comfortable car. So the TX has a little bit more of a storage right under here, where you can see your spare equipment, and here's your rear shade if you want to stow it away. And underneath all this plastic that you do have to take off, there is actually a nice spare tire for you. Up here you can see some really nice and convenient cargo lights that this one is equipped with, and no, that doesn't come with every single one. It is indeed a $400 option, or $399. So even though you have plenty of room back here, if you want more, you have these nice convenient buttons that will drop your rear seats, and if you don't feel like dropping them from back here, well, with a touch of a button you can fold all of them from the front seat, and that reveals a crazy amount of space in the back of the TX. Now, before we get to this beautiful interior of the TX, I'm gonna tease you a little bit, and we're gonna talk about what's underneath this massive hood. Let's go ahead and take a look. And there it is. Under this massive hood, there's a not so massive 2.4 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine making 275 horsepower in the TX 350, meaning it's not a hybrid. And if you're not a big fan of hybrid engines and all the extra complexity and wiring and electrification that comes with them, well, the TX 350 might be the right choice for you, especially because it still is capable of a reported 20 city and 26 highway for a combined 23. Alright, I think I've teased you guys enough, and let's go ahead and hop into the lap of luxury that is the interior of the Lexus TX 350 Luxury All-Wheel Drive. Long name, but hey, what it means is that you're getting a fantastic interior in a fantastic 7-seater, and I'm gonna go ahead and start with the point of view of the driver, the double screens, and right here is the all-new 14-inch Lexus Toyota integrated infotainment system, and it looks phenomenal. As you can see, your AC controls, your air conditioning controls are integrated now inside of this screen, and it is controlled with these wheels that look absolutely gorgeous. Lexus is really showing that digital center instrument stacks don't have to be boring, and they did a bang-up job. I really love the physical volume knob. I can live with the rest of these. Honestly, some of these are two-touch operations, but everything is intuitive. Fans right in the center, heated and cooled front seats in this car, heated steering wheel, which is super nice. You have a few other automated things about this, like climate control concierge and a few other things that pretty much recognizes which seat is occupied, and it will focus the air on that particular seat. We do have wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto on this screen, which is a huge improvement for some of the Lexus products that did not come with that. We do have a very good camera system that's upgraded per the last one, but we do still have this X-shaped 360 view of the vehicle that was in the last generation. And it's kind of funny, but the camera quality is much improved. As you can see, the rear view camera is now better quality. Bird's eye view looks really well and works really well. We do have sensors all the way around the vehicle. This one does have all kinds of different departure warnings and pedestrian warnings and things like that. Absolutely packed with technology and safety features. We do have 3 driving modes: Sport, Eco, and Normal. If I were to go over every single function that you can control from this screen, this video would be probably over an hour long. So I really invite you to go check out one of these cars and go through every little nook and cranny and explore it yourself. We do have a wireless charger in the TX, but unfortunately, like many other car wireless chargers, it does more in the heating your phone department than actually charging it up. We do have, however, USB-Cs. No USB-As in this car anywhere. I checked, trust me, none of those anymore. The cup holders are actually pretty interesting. They are removable, so you girlies don't have to worry anymore. Yes, your hydro flask will fit in the Lexus TX. Transmission's an 8-speed, and it moves this car pretty well. Right behind it, we have our hold, so this will hold the car when you're going over hills or in traffic. This is your parking brake, which is actually automatically applied when you put it in park. We have a hill descent control, so it'll actually apply your brakes and not let the car roll down a hill too fast. We have our kind of off-road snow mode still, which is a traditional thing in Lexus Toyota cars, and traction control off. Let's go ahead and take a look at the storage in the center console of the TX. We have a 2-way opening center console, and it's a pretty sizable storage cubby. In front of the driver to the left side of the steering wheel, this is your trip odometer, changing the light settings in the interior. So you pop your gas cap, you don't just push on it. We do have memory seats in this car, that's how you set it right there. Pretty nice looking steering wheel, feels really well in your hands. It is leather stitched. We do have paddle shifters for our 8-speed transmission. All these buttons are actually like capacitive touch, so they do control your head-up display and also your screen right in front of you. They do also control your stereo, so you can change tracks right there, volume up, down, and they do have secondary functions, and that's why these buttons are right here. This system right here is there to monitor your eyes and make sure you're keeping your eyes on the road when you're using the Lexus Safety 3 Plus system, and those buttons are right here. You have active cruise control in this car, and it will practically drive itself, hold the lane, stop and go in traffic. It does have a traffic jam assist that comes with that, and it is pretty useful. I did use it yesterday in disgusting Dallas traffic, and it made my life a lot better, especially with my cooled seats on. Another feature that this particular TX is equipped with is this button right here, and you can see it does give you the option to choose a parking spot right there, and it's called remote park. So with this function, you can either do a parallel or perpendicular park in this car, and it is pretty interesting. You just select where your parking spot is, and this car will give steering and throttle inputs and park the car perfectly. This gauge cluster, while being digital, it is pretty configurable. You do have different types that you can select. You can have a traditional tachometer and speedometer, or you can actually get rid of all of them and make it a pretty simple gauge cluster. You can also switch in between these screens, and this will actually show you your map inside the gauge cluster, which is pretty neat. Another part of the convenience package that this car is equipped with is this digital rear view mirror, which is a pretty useful feature if you have something obstructing your view, you know, your trunk is full or car's filled with passengers. You can just flip the switch and there you go. You don't have any obstructions and you can see right behind you. The interior of the TX, as you can see, is actually phenomenally designed. I love all these lines and everything that goes with the design language and the exterior of the car. This particular one has this nice gray leather seat situation that has a mixture of Alcantara and also perforations inside of the leather because it is ventilated. And this one is also equipped with a package that gives you heated and cooled second row seats. And if you notice it just got darker, well, it's because I just closed this massive panoramic sunroof that comes with the Lexus TX, and it spans all the way over the head of your rear passengers. And speak of the back seat, let's go ahead and talk about it. So, rear seats of the Lexus TX, this one is equipped with these perfect captain chairs, and I am oh so comfortable back here. We have vents for your rear zone climate, and you do have the buttons to control it from the center, and as I mentioned, we do have heated and cooled second row seats in this particular one. Perfect choice for a family. Another option we have in this one is this manual sunshade, so you can make sure your babies are comfortable and cool back here. This car has the tunes. The Mark Levinson sound system is one of the class leading in the market, and this particular one is no exception. It bumps. I mean, seriously, this thing kills it. There's speakers everywhere you look. I mean, in the headliner, in the doors, in the rear tailgate, there's speakers, and it sounds fantastic. If you get one of these, make sure it does have the Mark Levinson because it sounds great. We do have a little bit of ambient lights inside the cubbies over here. I don't know if that's visible on camera. Another thing about the TX is now door handles are just a button. So it's just an electric door handle from the outside and the inside. This is your emergency pull tab in case battery dies and you need to exit the vehicle. You have that. We have these armrests over here that actually are infinitely many ways adjustable. So it's pretty cool right there. And we do have this cup holder situation that's actually fully removable. So in case you want to have more room and get into the third row without that, you can do that. And of course, those are still removable, so you can enjoy a cold beverage and keep it in your cup holder. All right, let's go ahead and hop into the third row seat of the Lexus TX 350 and see what kind of room we're working with. That's actually not too bad. Let's go ahead and put this seat in its actual resting position and talk about how much room you get. And honestly, that is pretty good, surprisingly well. I am about 5'9", sitting back here, and you know, smaller adults can fit back here just fine. This is actually pretty impressive because we do have a flat floor which is usually an issue in a trucky SUV like the GX550 or the LX600H. This is pretty much as much room as you can get in a 7-seater Lexus, and this particular one you can actually recline with this button in the third row. Can't say that about many 7-seater passenger cars. And you can even have your hydro flask in the third row seat. Pretty neat. We do also have USB-C charging in the third row, so everybody can have their iPad time. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get in the parent seat and take this thing for a ride. Driving the Lexus TX 350 Luxury all-wheel drive. That's a handful, but hey, it's a big car. For the TX 350, this car is pretty much on its first generation. Like I mentioned before, the Grand Highlander is the reason we have the Lexus TX. The TX has been really easy to drive, really easy to get behind the wheel and get going. All the setups, everything around you is super intuitive. Although it does have lots and lots of gadgets and gizmos to get used to, it does a great job at being a family car and making you feel comfortable behind the wheel. So as far as the trims of the Lexus TX go, we do have a wide variety of options. We have the TX 350, of course. We have a base model that starts right around 56,000 and change, and then for the all-wheel drive is a couple more thousands of dollars. And then we have a premium, which is between this one, between the luxury and the base. And this particular car, the luxury all-wheel drive, starts right around $64,000, and as equipped here with the technology package, with the remote park and options like that, this one comes out to right around $73,000. So this is a pretty well loaded option, but the TX doesn't end there, it just keeps going. So TX 350 can also have a F Sport version. The F Sport is going to have a adjustable suspension and a couple more goodies like wheels and different bumpers that are a bit sportier looking. And then from there you get the different hybrid powertrains. You get the TX 500H, which is the regular hybrid version of this car, and the TX 550H Plus, which is the plug-in hybrid. And the TX 500H gets a power bump to 366 horsepower compared to the 275 that you get out of this one. Towing capacity stays the same for all of them. And then the plug-in hybrid version gets closer to 400 horsepower, and of course you have a EV only range with that car. So if you plan on city driving or shorter distances with just electric power, then the TX 550H Plus would be your TX of choice. But the TX 350 luxury that we have today drives phenomenally. The seating position in this car is awesome. You have a pretty good view over this nice and wide hood. This Nightfall mica color looks absolutely chef's kiss, and I couldn't recommend it enough. The overall looks of the TX in general, it's a very good looking balance between luxury and subtle truckiness going on, although it does have the chops kind of sort of like a minivan, which isn't so much of a bad thing because the interior is super spacious. I would say this car has a larger feeling interior space than even Lexus's largest offering, the LX600H, that is much more expensive than this car too. So if your intention really isn't towing and you don't need that level of horsepower, I think the TX 350 is definitely the family 3-row SUV for you. Plus, you get pretty decent fuel economy without having to buy the hybrid version. As far as safety features go, TX 350 offers Lexus Safety System 3 Plus, and this one has all the extra driver's assist. As you can see, we have a gigantic menu in front of me of all the safety systems that you can turn on and off. The car is pretty much always conscious of your driving, and we do have a active adaptive cruise control that I just turned on. It does require you to put your hand on the wheel, but it is very intuitive. It does have a camera or a sensor that recognizes your attention on the road, so the system will alert you and eventually get disabled if you're not paying attention, but it does a really good job of steering, keeping you in the lanes. And even when you're not in adaptive cruise control mode, the car still does keep you in the lanes if you have that option on. It does have a lot of the braking functions available to you, and it will brake if you're approaching a vehicle too fast. And that system is actually always on, and it'll have a couple of red indicators indicating when your brake lights are on without you hitting the brakes, which is pretty cool. But if you do drive this car a lot and get in a car that doesn't have that feature, you're gonna end up expecting it to just hit the brakes for you. So it gets a little bit of getting used to initially in this car, and then if you switch cars to something that doesn't have that feature, it's a little funny. One thing some of the rivals do have that the TX does not, and Toyota and Lexus hasn't implemented yet, is blind spot cameras. They're pretty nice and intuitive in situations like this, and I can't imagine it being too much more trouble given the fact that this car already has a bird's eye view system. So the TX does have 3 different driving modes: normal, sport, and eco. We're gonna go ahead and switch to sport mode and unleash all 275 horsepowers. We do also have manual mode, and we have paddle shifters that do wake up the car. I feel like the TX is actually more dynamic. If you enjoy driving smaller cars, you know, if you're used to a sedan or a smaller SUV and you enjoy tossing it around, and now you need something with this amount of space, I feel like the TX 350 F Sport would be a better choice than something like a TX 550, because the steering and the handling of this car is surprisingly good. For the size, it is very impressive. And the 4-cylinder 2.4 turbocharged engine is attached to an Aisin 8-speed transmission that we've driven in a lot of Toyotas lately, and honestly, it's phenomenal. I like this package. We're gonna go ahead and do a quick pull for research purposes. Sport mode, and it shifts a lot faster in sport. Holds the gears longer. Honestly, in sport mode, it does feel pretty active. I do sometimes wish this car came with a V6 powertrain, but you can't argue with the power that it's putting out of a 2.4 4-cylinder, and also the fuel economy that this thing's capable of if you drive it, you know, anything like I'm driving it. Of course, 275 horsepower on something that is this big and this heavy isn't anything to write home about. But the TX 350 does get out of its own way, especially once it's already rolling down the road. From a stop, it does feel a little bit underpowered, I'm not gonna lie. But as we know, traditionally Toyota, Lexus products that are slightly underpowered do deliver reliability on the back end because the engines are under stressed, and that is a-okay with me. The fact that the TX 350 is built on more of a car chassis than a truck chassis is also beneficial in day-to-day driving, in regular terrain, on the highway, on back roads, because, well, it handles differently, and also it hits the bumps a lot smoother compared to something with extra body roll and solid rear axle and things like that. This car, with its independent suspension, with its car-like features, it keeps you comfortable. You don't really notice that you're in something this big. It drives a lot smaller than it actually is. And with that, I'm going to wrap this video, but first I want to ask you, what do you think of the TX 350 and the Lexus TX in general? This is a first effort. This is the first time Lexus has built a 3-row luxury SUV that's not based on a truck chassis. And well, while I'm a big fan of the LXs and the GXs, I totally see a point in this car. Not everyone needs something that is off-road capable. Sometimes we just need the space and the comfort without the extra off-road goodies. So if you're in the market for a Lexus TX or a 3rd-row luxury SUV, leave a comment down below and tell me what else you're cross-shopping the TX with. Or if you already own a TX or a Lexus SUV, let me know what your experience has been with these wonderful machines. If you enjoyed watching this video, smash that thumbs up button, subscribe for more car reviews like this one. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Peace out, and I'm out.